So, Tobes. So, you
Hi,
have this?
Steve.
Hey, what's going on?
Good to see you again.
Um, what does Fletch mean to you? Because I think we're gonna have different opinions on this, but I just wanted to know what is Fletch, the movie with Chevy Chase? What does that mean to you, man? Tell me.
Well, this is a timeless classic to me, and to me, this is per capita, minute by minute, the most quotable movie of in just in my daily walking around activities.
For sure.
And you would agree with that. I think you agree with that. And as buddies for 20 plus years, and the people that I find myself surrounded with, we can hang out for 5 6 hours on a Friday night and do nothing but Fletch quotes and make a conversation out of it. Um, it's kind of one of those movies where you kind of you know a lot about a person if they answer you back with a the following line from the movie. It's
Oh
just
yeah, yeah.
okay. I know who this person is now. When you first meet him,
Oh yeah.
it's the
I do
great.
that with I do that with a lot of movies. It's
Oh yeah,
kind of like a character check. You meet somebody and you say a line, and if they don't know, then it's like, okay, all right, all
yeah,
right.
noted.
Um, I think for me it was I didn't see this in the movie theater.
No,
Um, I think I saw it. I don't even want to. I want to say I didn't even see it until maybe the 90, 91, 92. Um, because and I'll probably get a lot of flack for this. I'm not the biggest Chevy Chase fan,
okay,
and so it always because he always tends to kind of play. It's kind of like Bill Murray, and they come from the same cloth or they're cut from the same cloth. They both got their starts with Saturday Night Live, and I think
hmm
I don't know what it was. I mean, I liked him in Caddyshack. That's another great one.
oh yeah,
But I think it wasn't until Vacation that I really kind of kind of got to know Chevy Chase a little bit. But yeah, I mean, as far as Fletch goes, I know all the quotes just because I've seen it enough times.
right.
But yeah, I just wasn't a big Chevy Chase fan. I mean, I think him and Bill Murray are kind of like I said, they're the same because I think where they kind of went off was, Bill Murray continued to be like the the know-it-all in the room, and but he would always kind of maybe at the end kind of I don't know what the word is, but change, I guess, his character arc. He would always change within the movie, where
Okay,
I don't think Chevy Chase ever really did. Um, but I don't know. I
that's
don't know. I
that's
mean,
that's really interesting. You're, I agree with most of what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah,
um, they're they're so similar, and you're right because they were like the original not ready for primetime players. If I
yeah, yeah,
weren't they
yeah,
a
yeah.
part of that 1975
Well, the
group?
thing was that Chevy Chase he left in the second season. I think in the middle of the second season or something. So
Okay.
he was only on there for a season, maybe a half, and then Bill Murray came and replaced him. But I think
Oh,
because and that says a lot because Chevy Chase he went off and made like Foul Play and Under the Rainbow and Foul Play. Oh, it seems like old times. That was a Neil
oh
Simon movie,
yeah.
and those were really I haven't seen I don't well I've seen Under the Rainbow. He made that movie. That was a flop, but I
I don't
remember
think I've
these. I'm
seen Under
like,
the Rainbow. I don't recognize that.
yeah, I think it was with the short people from The Wizard of Oz were in it, and
Oh,
it was just a weird movie. I remember seeing it on cable like when I was a kid, like on HBO. But I think he had a couple big flops after seems like old times and Foul Play, and then um, I think Vacation is where he came back. Vacation and Caddyshack. I think they came out in the same year, maybe.
okay.
I'll look
And
that
then
up.
and Fletch is what 1985.
Uh huh.
So we're
Yeah.
this is our second 1985.
Oh, that's right. When
We've
did it
got
come
that's
out?
right.
Let's see.
It's right in the wheelhouse. Um, for I watched it not in the theater, but
Yeah,
as soon as so what and I'm sorry if I speaking a little inside baseball for I'm not sure who your international viewers of the Mr. Stegar channel. I hope I don't get too inside baseball here, but uh, Channel 2, KTVU, Channel 2 in Jack London Square would play movies at like
yeah,
8 o'clock on Friday night. This is way before animation domination on.
yeah.
And so I recorded it on a VHS tape with the
Oh,
commercials.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I wore that tape out. I would come home from school throughout, all through high school, and didn't really have a whole lot to do because we were living at my grandparents' house at the time, and there was like literally nobody around. So I'd come home, and from like 3 to 5, I would just watch movies like Fletch. There was a few others on there. You could put like 3 movies on a
yeah,
VHS tape, and, and you'd have to fast forward through the commercials. But because it was on at after 8, I think some of the swear words would get through. But I got the gist
yeah,
of what it might have not. It wasn't bleeped. I think it was just quiet, or that maybe they had dubbed over a. They would put in a Flarn instead of how they used to do it back in the day. They would
yeah,
you know, and so I think there was probably a good year where I watched this movie maybe every day. It just became I knew I loved the character of Fletch. I love just what a wiseacre he is, and
yeah, yeah.
he's a good detective. He does figure it out, but he's almost like he doesn't even take himself seriously. Just the whole nonchalantness of the way he went about, like he kind of carries himself. This character of Fletch just kind of carries himself. He's smarter than everybody that he
Right,
comes
right.
across, and it gets him
Well,
into
that's what.
trouble in every
Yeah,
scene.
yeah. Well, that's what somebody says at the beginning of the movie. Says, "Is everything a joke to you, Fletch?" Or something to that
Is it
effect.
Gina Davis's character, Larry?
I think it's his publisher or his the editor guy,
Oh
maybe. And
boy,
he's
you're
like, "Yep,
absolutely
every,
right.
everything is."
Yeah, that's right. Is everything a joke to you? No, it's the uh
Where's it one?
George Went
Oh, that's
character
right.
on the
Yeah,
beach. You're
at the
absolutely right.
beginning.
Everything, Sal. Because right, he's trying to bust he's just
Yeah, he's
working on something and he's wearing different. He's got oh, magic today, huh? He wears
yeah,
little
that's
beach.
yeah, he starts the movie looking into a drug,
Mm-hmm.
drugs on the beach, and then um it turns into when the Stanwick guy hires him,
That's
turns into
right.
that. Then it ties up all at the end. But back to what you were saying about
Mm-hmm.
um the jokester part of him is that I think that's a big reason why I think this this movie works is because everybody kind of just goes along with it, you know, and there's no like pushback, like when he goes and he talks to, when he talks to his editor, when he talks to
Yep.
remember the guy, the lawyer that's his ex-wife's lawyer, and
Oh
you know,
God. And he shows up in the office as if he's been in some kind of he's already been
Mr.
beat up by somebody, right? I
Mr.
don't, oh
Poon,
no, it was the vice president comes around the corner, whack, blood, Washington.
yeah, and I think that's
I
why that's a
mean,
big
who
reason
thinks of
why.
this? Who thinks of this stuff?
Well, I don't know. I think that's a big reason why he doesn't, or the film works, is because he doesn't. No one. I mean, everybody just goes with it, especially the who
Yeah.
is it? Gail, is that her name? I can't. I didn't write down the names, but and he's like, "Hey, can I borrow your
Oh yeah, Gail
can I borrow your
Stanwyck.
towel? My
That's
car just
right.
hit a
Water
water buffalo."
buffalo. Yes, that's an ad lib line.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
had
that's
to
a,
be.
so many of them are ad lib lines because as as we both know, it's based on the 1974 book by what's his name, Gregory MacDonald.
Yeah, let's see.
Is it Gregory MacDonald? He wrote 11 Fletch books, and they're not comedies.
Yeah, they're like that kind of mystery, kind of.
But the disguises
Um,
part goes. He disguises him.
oh,
He
it fits in.
pretends to be these different characters to get the info. I mean, he's undercover. I mean, talk of it's an unorthodox way of going undercover, where every day is a different. He's a
Yeah,
different
well,
guy.
there is some tension too because when he gets caught by the cops, and after he
Yep.
tells them, "Yeah, go pump yourselves," or
Right. Right.
and then Joe Don Baker takes him into the cell and starts pointing the gun at him and says, "Hey, I'll stab my." I mean, you could tell in that scene that he's like, "Oh, oh my
Yeah. He's
god,"
in
he's shitting
deep.
his pants.
He's in
Yeah,
deep in that scene. That's
yeah,
exactly right. And he's like, oh, he's done this before. Uh,
yeah.
Chief Carlton,
Greg McDonald,
Greg
that was the
McDonald. There we
writer.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
He
So
gets
yeah, that's
himself into. He's like, what does he ask? He puts him in the cell, and he asks the chief. He's all, "You're serious?" And the chief says,
yeah.
"Ask anybody." And he's all,
and
"Oh no, this is right. What'll it be,
yeah.
Fletch?"
um. So yeah, that was 85. I guess continuing on from last week. That was a hell of a year. It
Mm-hmm.
came out May
May of
May
'85.
31st. Yeah, of 85. Um,
So right
we got
around
to
the
do.
time that Back to the Future came out.
Yeah, Back to the Future came out July 4th weekend. I guess I think July 3rd it came out,
Okay.
and so it was a busy summer for 85. Man.
Oh, it was a great
Re-
summer for '85. We're two for
Yeah,
two so
yeah.
far.
Um, Another thing is the soundtrack to Fletch,
Hmm. Carol
which was the
Faltermeyer.
big, yeah. I mean, and he just came off of Beverly Hills Cop,
Yep.
so he's on a roll. And then his next film, what was his next film after this? Was
Oh boy, you're testing me now. It wasn't Beverly
yeah, I
Hills
have
Cop 2.
yeah
Yeah.
soundtrack. Baltimore, bam. Didn't he do something with? Let's see.
Top Gun.
Oh, Top Gun.
I got
Jesus.
it. I just thought of it. That's right. He did Top Gun.
Dude, what a run. Check this out. He does
Yes.
Beverly Hills Cop,
Yep.
Fletch, Top Gun, and then he does The Running Man in 87.
Oh, no way.
And then he does, yeah. And then he's Fatal Beauty. Oh, that's with Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah. That's a nice little run there. Like
Oh,
three
yeah.
years.
He did
Jesus.
well. He did well for himself.
Yeah. And
I mean,
I think that's
anybody who's
another,
going to. He wrote Axel F.
yeah. Yeah. That was, that
You
was a
could
bop.
retire right there. That's catchy ass tune right there.
He also he came back and did Top Gun Maverick with Hans Zimmer and Lady Gaga.
Oh, boy.
What a duo!
I.
So what
Yeah, go.
what else do give me some of your favorite scenes from Fletch, like your top three.
Okay, so this has changed over the years because there was a time when my least favorite when I was a kid. I always liked. I mean, obviously, when he's daydreaming that he's on the Lakers, and it's not. It's just him dreaming. He's taking a little nap midday, and I mean that he's got uh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Chick Hearn. It's hysterical. I mean, it was. I think if I remember right, that part was in the television. Uh, was in the trailer that they used to show. He's
Yeah.
he's 6'5" with the afro 6'9", and the jokes he doesn't say anything in that daydream. It's Kareem and Chick talking about in a post game interview how well did what about Fletch? And, he's not all the jokes. The side characters,
Yeah.
and it has nothing to do with the story. It's just he's still. um, it's character building on him. Like this is how he sees himself. He's got these delusions of grandeur, and he's just a writer who does a
Uh,
byline under Jane Doe.
Jane Doe. Yeah,
Jane
I
Doe.
never, and it never explains why it's Jane Doe. I at least for me, maybe I'm missing the joke, but it's like he never explains it. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and he's clearly he's got a following as Jane
Yeah.
Doe because if as he's walking through the newsroom to his desk, people are like clamoring to like get his attention and everything. And Gina Davis's character Larry comes running, and the editors comes running out of his office. And if you look on the walls, there's uh, the big papers. They'll have them. This is an important day, and they're his stories that he broke.
Oh,
I
I didn't
mean,
know that. I didn't catch that.
just in passing, I mean, it took me like the 50th time. I'm like, so he's a big deal, but he lives
Yeah.
in this crap apartment, driving this horrible car that he has to sneak in through the fire escape to it because his ex wife's lawyer, what is Pants Esquire is waiting for him on the. Well, I don't like to discuss business on the lanai. Let's go. It's nothing. He takes nothing seriously.
Nothing. And again, no pushback to anything, which I think is why again the movie works because imagine if somebody would be like, "Hey, wait, what?"
Right.
What? I mean, you have all the names like Poon, Mr. Poon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What is it, John Cocken?
Cock toasting. He forgets, and sometimes that's the one time where he gets flustered and he doesn't really remember because he's looking at Gail Stanwyck and he's just all he's a bit smitten by her, right?
Dr. Rosen.
Yeah, right. Dr.
And you
Rosenfuse, and
see, he sees all the list,
right,
Rosenberg,
that's right. That's
Rosenstein.
exactly right. And he gets them all conflated. He's not. And it's, where in the hell's the records room? And he just changes it. Let's get out of this. We gotta get out. Where in the hell's the records room? Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
it's
Oh
nonstop, dude. It is nonstop with the shtick,
yeah, dude.
and
Well, that's
nobody's like, "What are you talking about?" The only
yeah.
person who ever looks at him funny through the whole thing, like, "What?" is when he's at the Pan Am desk checking to make sure that his flight to Rio is set up. And
Well, you paid for her ticket. Well, I didn't want her to sit
doesn't
next to
mean I
me.
want her sitting next to me, does it? Because I'm in bridge
Oh,
construction, I'm bridge building, I think these fold outs take a tremendous amount of space. I'm like, I need the
oh my
space.
goodness. Well, that brings me to one of my favorite scenes, which is
Yes.
when he passes out as the doctor after they do the. I guess he's doing an autopsy,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and the nurse is like, "Can I get you anything?" And he's like, "How about the Beatles' White Album?" Or is
Right.
that what he says?
Read oh, the records room. Oh, great. Then I'm fine. Yes. And well,
Oh my gosh!
he says, and I didn't get it at the time because as a 15, 16-year-old or whatever, because I didn't realize that there's a movie reference that he throws out there, and
Yeah.
and it took me so, and he's all, and then she turns around and he goes, and then bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia while you're out there.
He goes,
Dude, that's a
yeah, a cup of
spaghetti
fat.
western. That is so funny, dude. That is so funny. But again, you can watch it
Oh,
200 times and not catch it.
yeah, yeah.
There's a movie called
That
"Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia," and I'm just like, "What? There is?" I discovered this, and I'm 38 years old. I'm like, "Wait, what? That's a okay. What's going on?"
oh man. Yeah. Um yeah, that's that so it's that one. And I gotta go with the um just anything with Gail. Is that her name? I didn't write down any names. I should have.
Stanwyck?
When he meets her at the tennis club
Oh yeah, right.
and then and he's charging everything to the Underhills and
Yep. Still, always
those
to
two
this
stick
day,
out to me.
still to
Yeah.
this day, it's just charge it to the Underhills. You can say that in any restaurant, bar, anywhere there's any money changing hands, you can just say, just, put it on, charge it to the Underhills, and everyone will know what you're talking about. That's one of those where it's just a timeless. Um, I don't think I fully answered your question when my favorite. So
Oh, well,
for
yeah.
me
Just give me another
now,
one.
my
Yeah.
scenes, I loved all the scenes in Utah, which I didn't
Oh,
care for the
yeah.
first half of my life. I was just thought it was kind of like a drag down. I mean, there's kind of some funny stuff. He gets his head caught in the thing. There's there's the physical stuff that he brought over from Saturday Night Live when he used to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
Gerald Ford and fall over the people that are familiar with his work with Saturday Night Live are like, is he going to fall over the desk and then pop up and say live from New York? But he gets his head caught in the thing. There's a line that is said almost daily with our good friend Eric Buxa, who will say this line without fail when he goes to investigate Utah, wedged in between Wyoming and Nevada. You've seen pictures. And he goes to Sally Ann Kavanaugh's house, and it's empty, right? And he breaks
Yeah.
in or whatever,
Yeah.
and she's got the Publishers Clearinghouse in the mail slot, and he kind of gives himself a little smile because he joked about that with his lawyer earlier in the movie. It was a little callback. And he walks in and he's checking everything, and he's looking around. Obviously, nobody lives here, and the guy comes in with a shotgun. Now,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
to seem like kind of heartless. This is a person who has been put in charge. He's got one job.
Yeah.
He's like a Hills Have Eyes kind of character from Utah. I mean, you don't want to stereotype too much, but they are in Provo, Utah, and he's like a kind of a monosyllabic guy. He doesn't say a whole lot, and he asks, he's like, "Well, I'm supposed to meet Sally Ann, Sally Ann here," and he's moved out. Oh man, that's so crazy because we were supposed to do this and that, and moved out. And here the line is, "So you're saying she moved out?" And it's so subtle, and he's obviously they're the only two people in the room. He's not doing it to
Yeah.
make anybody else laugh. He's doing it to make himself laugh. Well,
Yeah.
with a shotgun pointed at him.
Right.
And it's just such a classic line. And without fail, Eric will say this at any given moment of any given day. And it always makes me laugh. That's kind of
Uh-huh.
his, one that he's latched onto. And so I love that. The whole, he goes to visit Sally Ann Kavanaugh's parents, and he had after he leaves, and the guy with the shotgun blew the window out, and he shows up at their house, and they're looking at the car with the window blown out, and he's all, they ought to have these things recalled. You hit one bad bump out here, and boom, whole rear window explodes. And then he introduces himself uh, as
The president.
yeah. He,
Gerald
uh,
Ford. Is that him?
no,
No.
he's Harry he's
Truman.
Harry S. Truman, and they're all
Dropped a big one. I dropped two big
oh,
ones.
too big one, yeah. I love those Utah scenes, and they weren't supposed to be part of the original movie.
Oh,
They
really?
filmed the movie is all in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
and they filmed the movie, all the car chase scenes and the beach scenes and all this when they were filming it. When the '84 Olympics were going on.
Oh, really?
And when they went to do some reshoots, it was just too chaotic, and they're like, well, we have to do these reshoots because you always have to do reshoots when you're
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
on post. But they couldn't do them in LA, and so they decided that they would do that story, him
Oh. Hmm.
investigating. Let's
Yeah.
just go to Utah where it costs nothing to film,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is why Utah is even part of the whole thing.
Well, I
I
think.
don't think it's
Yeah.
part of the original book. I don't know that
Yeah.
he checks that Stanwyck was, married, and then they bring up the whole plural marriage thing, like he's married to both women at the same time, but he
Um.
is hired to kill Stanwyck for bone cancer in the book. That
Yeah.
part,
Oh,
yeah,
is he? Okay.
yeah.
Um, oh, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Good lord. Oh yeah, I didn't know about that the Summer Olympics thing in '84. That makes total sense.
doesn't it?
The whole Utah thing actually. Yeah, there is a bit of a lull when he goes to Utah. I mean, only
Mhm.
he goes to that one house the first time, or maybe this is part of the whole thing. But he goes to Utah and gets chased by that dog.
Right.
Is that Utah or is that
Yeah,
L.A.?
he goes to
Okay,
Utah twice in the movie.
okay, yeah, that first time, and then he goes and he's showing Gail Stanwyck. Yeah,
He's yeah,
here's my car. Here's the
yeah.
hotel I stayed at.
Here's the dog that tried to bite me. Here's the Mormon tabernacle.
Tabernacle. Yeah, that's
Oh,
right. And then so yeah, so anyways, so yeah, the records room was my first one.
uh
And then the Poon, Mr. Poon,
huh.
and then all the Gale stuff with in the tennis club. Those are the three kind of scenes or groups of scenes that really, I don't know, they make it worthwhile because I feel like the first half or maybe three quarters of the movie I'm engaged, and then I found myself in the last 20 minutes just like, ah, okay, let's go. Let's tie this up. But it runs smoothly. It's a buck 38. It's an hour and 38 minutes. And
Okay.
now it's like everything's 2 hours, at least. So,
Yeah,
uh,
it's a good point.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
point. The, um, I mean, in the story, it makes sense as
Mhm.
they tie it all together, and they did
Yeah,
have source
yeah,
material to rely on, and there was this guy's hired me to kill him. He's going to burn my body up, and it's going to look like me. I mean, this wouldn't work today with DNA,
no, yeah,
but at the
exactly.
time, in 1975 or four, whenever he wrote the book, they're just just going to go by body height. Oh, well, it's got to be him. He's in his car,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're just going to disappear. And he's the number one drug dealer from here to Oxnard. Uh, it is also like, if you don't know Southern California, it's like a 30-mile range. It's Meanwhile, he's flying back and forth to South America to pick up the
Uh,
dope. And it's
yeah.
the number one drug dealer from here to Oxnard.
Oh man, just and then the funniest. How about some funny lines? I think
Yeah.
um the Beatles' White Album and Cup of
Hmm.
Fat, those and Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think the Can I borrow your towel because my car
Yeah.
just ran into. I mean, the whole movie could be one big, you know. Ouch! Sorry, man, my back's killing me.
Oh no.
It could be. It's just so. What's the word? I guess repeatable. And
Hmm.
like you said, when you meet people, it's a good way to. It's kind of like a good litmus test to see. Okay, hey, you know,
That's
um,
exactly right.
yeah.
That's
So,
exactly right.
what else you got? You got anything else?
I do. The
Oh, the airplane mechanic. That scene. I forgot about that scene.
that's what I was searching for. That's the one that, I mean, everybody, at any time you can just say it's all ball bearings nowadays. At any given time.
Look at all that gunk.
Yeah.
And
um,
that's again going back to like pushing back
mhm.
on his BS. That's one of the dudes in there is just kind of like, okay, all
Right.
right.
He's like, what the hell do
That's
you need? What the hell do you need ball bearings for?
yeah,
The other mechanic, who was the one who was kind of along with him, hey,
yeah,
Gord, he's been in everything. That's one of those
yeah.
actors that was, he was in,
Have you
was it,
seen Honeymoon in Vegas?
that's how I was just thinking. He was the
Uh,
Flying Elvis's Utah chapter. He's been in so many things. He's great. He's great.
yeah,
His
yeah.
IMDb must be miles long.
Well, the
Uh,
other guy, the other mechanic, was the dad in Goodfellas, right? Did you, I think so.
oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I had
Goodfellas.
seen him. I've seen. He was also in Summer School. Have you ever seen that movie, Summer
Yeah.
School
Oh
with
yeah.
Mark
Oh
Harmon?
yeah.
He
Loved
was
Summer
one of
School.
the. He was Chainsaw's dad. I think that's what it was.
Perfect. That actually makes sense.
He's been in a lot of movies too. He's like one of those it guys. Oh, I know that guy. I know
Yep.
that guy from somewhere. So,
Summer School with Mark Hamill.
what'd you
Summer
think of that
School was
movie?
perfect. I
Oh
saw it
yeah.
in the theater. I saw that in the
Oh, you
theater.
did.
Yeah, because I was in summer school at the time, and I'm like, well, I have to see this.
And it was the music was done by Danny Elfman on that one,
Perfect. Of course it was. That makes
and you
sense.
could tell it didn't. It just sounded like Oingo Boingo did it, but yeah.
He was in
Well,
Oingo Boingo, wasn't he?
Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was the lead singer.
it
I
was
think
the
he wrote
lead
all
singer.
the songs. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to kind of get back to what you thought about the remake of Fletch, because I know you said last
Oh
time you didn't
boy.
really enjoy it.
This is a polarizing one. I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
care for it. I love John Hamm
Yeah.
because I'm a big Mad Men guy, and I think he's nobody could do Don Draper. And I know that he's a really, really super funny guy in real life. I mean, he's
Yeah.
he's a big goofball. I didn't care for it that much. I did muscle my way through it just because I'm like, this isn't doing it for me. But I'm kind of an outlier in this because most
Really?
of the people who I quote Fletch with, and I haven't
Yeah.
asked you this yet, but most of the people that I would quote just in my day to day activities, if they've seen it, they're like, "Oh, it was really good. I loved it." Your thoughts?
My thoughts. I
Mm-hmm.
have to agree with that. I enjoyed it. It's been so long since the first one, and there have been many kind of attempts to revive it in the early 2000s and such.
Mm-hmm.
That and also when I heard that he had remade it, I was kind of nervous because it was like, wow, those are big shoes to fill. But up until then, up until I mean, I never knew that these were books.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I heard that he was coming out right before it came out, probably about a couple months before, I read the book Confess Fletch. That's
Oh, you
based
did.
on, yeah. And I thought, oh, these are pretty good. This is it's kind of that noir kind of detective story kind of stuff. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought the humor was a little more subtle. That's what I liked about it
Okay.
because the shtick. I mean, look, and this is goes back to the reasons why I didn't really like Chevy Chase was because I think in Vacation it works well because there's other people that are kind of calling him on his shit. Yeah,
That's right.
his wife mostly, but Christy Brinkley, his kids. Um, but that became he was more in Vacation. He was just more. He thought he was the smartest guy in the room, but he's actually the dumbest guy in the room. And
Yeah.
I think that works. But anyways, back to Fletch is that I think that for me the humor was just a little more subtle and it was just kept to kind of it made the conversations that you would have because he would go in and out of his kind of shtick. And it wasn't just full time da, 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 da. Not to say that I didn't like it in Fletch. I loved it in Fletch, but I just didn't think, and especially in today's times, like I don't think that would carry over too well. So I like what he did. It was a little more subtle, and um, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was
Okay.
good.
Okay.
I don't think it was the best thing, but I think I hope that they do another one. That's how much I liked it.
Oh,
Just
you
to
do.
see, yeah, just to see if they can continue it. Not to because in this day and age, again, it's like everything's a sequel, everything's a trilogy, everything is
True.
like, it turns it into an IP, and then you kind of just have to keep going until it runs dry, and then you still keep going. It seems like, but
Yep.
I
Yep.
would, yeah, I wouldn't mind
Good
seeing another
point.
one because again, like you, I like John Hamm, and
Yeah.
I, dude, I've listened to so many podcasts with him, and like back in like 2010, I think Mark Maron did a podcast with him, and that was great. He's very personable. He's very. I don't think he's very. I think it's changed since then because back he was just doing Mad Men back then,
Mm-hmm.
and he would just do like the occasional movie with where he dies or fourth or fifth billing. So I think back then it was different. And plus, he never got married, but he was with his girlfriend for like 20 years or something like that,
Okay.
and they never got married. But I had a friend of mine at that time, because I was living in San Francisco at the time, and a friend of mine would go down to L.A. and hang out because she had family down there, and he used to hang out at like the M Bar and all these like comedy places because all his friends were comedians. But she said that he was a total drunk, just a total drunk.
Okay.
And that's interesting to know because you never know that or see that, in his public persona. But yeah, that's
This is
I like
before he
Johnny.
made it big.
No, this is during Mad Men.
Was it really?
Um, yeah, he was. She said that she saw him at some bar. I think it was where all the comedians were hanging out, and she was like, "Oh, hey, I'm so and so," and she was trying to get into the industry, and she was just like, he was blackout. He was just so blackout drunk. I don't think he remembers, but he wasn't. She said he was still functional, but the look, like when when you look at somebody and they're just like, "Ew,"
Yeah.
that's what she said. He
Thousand
goes, he
yard
wasn't
stare.
there.
Well, I
So
imagine if Mad Men's going on and he's at a bar, people are buying him shots,
yeah,
and he's not used. He wasn't used to the fame.
yeah,
Um, he was really kind of a struggling actor,
yeah.
and
Have you
what are you
heard him
going to
on any
do?
podcasts?
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
He's been on many podcasts, and he's silly and goofy
yeah,
and
yeah,
funny, and he's a self-deprecating humor, and um, he's not. The first time I ever saw him was watching Mad Men, and he brings that character. He's very serious, and it's very believable,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
believe it's 1962, and you're like, Jesus, this guy's a killer, straight up. He
Do you
just
remember?
uses. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, do you remember that one episode where they're having a picnic? He takes his family for the picnic, and they're like, "All right, let's go." And he takes a beer can, he just chugs it, then he's and then takes off, and they leave all their shit in. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
episode?
Yeah.
And it reminded me of like when I was a kid. I remember driving down the freeway, and my grandma would be like, "Here, eat," it was like a long trip to Santa Rosa or Petaluma, wherever we are going,
Hmm.
and she would give me like something to eat, and I would, uh, I had a napkin, and she would just take the napkin, throw it out the window. I'd be like, I remember those days, of like, oh, that's how things got fucked up.
Yep. 100%. And then
Yeah,
Hootie the Owl would come along and have to remind us on a PSA, hey,
yeah.
give a hoot, don't pollute. What are you doing here?
Well, that it reminds me of those. Speaking of KTVU,
Yeah.
those little bumpers that they had with what was it? Glue. I need
Oh,
glue.
you mean Pat McCormick's bits and pieces that he used to
Yeah.
do with Humphrey Hambone and oh no, what's the other one?
Yeah.
We should do a podcast just on those. There's like
Yeah,
a half a
dude.
dozen of them that everybody remembers. As see, you get seasick when you get near the bathtub. Oh man, that was all Pat McCormick. And unless you're from the Bay Area, you have no idea what we're talking about. But it's all
Yeah.
on YouTube now.
Or
After this
that or
podcast
the
is over, go searching for Pat McCormick and Humphrey Hamba.
Do you remember the one more? It was and they would have different ethnicities, and then
Mm-hmm.
they would end with "I'm proud to be a Mexican American."
Right, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, I
So The
remember those too.
Office, what's cool is I always thought I held KTVU in the highest,
Uh,
because he used
yeah.
to have Pat McCormick had dialing for dollars, which was
Oh, I
midday. So
remember
if you were
that.
at home sick during the
Yeah.
week, it made no sense to me. I have no idea what dialing for dollars is. Usually the movie is not anything I'm even interested in, so I don't know what I'm doing. There was a kind of a dead spot midday from like noon to 2, where you're like, I mean, we only had freaking 5 or 6 channels, so we're like, well, I guess that's it for TV for the day. Price is Right's over, and now we're gonna get Pat McCormick, and he's gonna show us, and he's gonna come on, and he's gonna have somebody on the phone. All that stuff was filmed right there at their studio in
Yeah.
Jackson Square, and for the last 10 years, I've been, the office that I've been driving to is
Yeah.
next door, is in Jack
Oh,
London
next door.
Square, and
Oh,
it's next. And I look over there, and I'm just all, can I just get a peek in there? I mean, they used to have puppet shows that I would watch. I mean, this place has been around. It's been all right in that building right over there. And I just wanted, I mean, Pat McCormick, God rest his soul, is a legend. And he's
yeah.
in, TV Hall of Fame and everything. And
Yeah.
he's known around the world. But nobody knows about freaking. Yeah.
What were the names of the puppets?
So, so it was Humphrey Hambone.
Glue. I need glue. 102 stupid things to do.
Borrowing without
Borrowing
asking.
without asking. You're gonna need lots of glue.
No, Humphrey. I said Humphrey Hambone. You know what?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get murdered for this. I don't know. I don't remember the other one. He used to
Yeah,
work.
I don't remember the other one either. I didn't, there was also a tomcat. Remember he
Mm-hmm.
had like the black turtleneck with the shades.
He was like a beatnik,
Yeah.
which was
And
like, what?
he's like he what poked somebody in the nose? Yeah, it was just
I poked him in the nose to show him I was right.
admit it. You were wrong.
Oh my god, that's right. Oh, so good. And this was
Yeah.
for us kids, and we to this day haven't forgotten it. I mean,
I
borrowing
sometimes I
without
just
asking is wrong.
Oh yeah.
He was right
I
about
look
that.
him up on YouTube once in a while. I can find him there. I can't really find the ethnic ones. I'm proud to be a Japanese American, or I'm proud
Okay.
to be a. I can't find those. Yeah, there was. Yeah, those I can't find, but I did find a commercial for Windsor Waterworks. Do you remember that?
No way.
Yeah, Windsor Waterworks are gonna
You're
get
gonna
wet.
get what? Oh yeah.
The doom flume.
The
Me and John.
doom flume. The and we don't have. I mean, water slides not a big thing anymore. You got to go to San
Yeah,
Jose to go on a water slide these days.
yeah, yeah.
It's a
I
crime.
think so.
It's
It's
just
a
a crime.
I just think back to those days and realize how lucky it was that nobody ever shit in the pool or in those in those slides. Oh my goodness.
Not the day you were there. That
But
was
there's
kind
a
of a halfway point because you lived in Healdsburg, right? You grew up in
yeah,
Healdsburg, and
yeah,
I grew up in Forestville. And Windsor's smack
yeah.
smack right 50-50, dude. That's right. We'll meet you halfway.
But, but
Boy, oh
didn't
boy.
Petaluma have some sort of park like that, water park, or
I don't think so.
didn't you work
Pedal
at one?
Not at a water
Oh,
park.
oh, because I remember you used to go. Didn't you say something like it? Watch Flipper go up and
Oh no, that that was we used to go to Marine World in Vallejo,
oh yeah,
and it was Yaka and Vika, by the way. And my mom knew the PA announcer who would do all those.
yeah,
They used to have like instead before they had headsets, there was a guy in a booth who would
yeah.
narrate what the Dolphins were doing and all this. And his name. Hang on, his name was Dave. Dave. Okay, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but he had one of those voices, and I'm at a very impressionable age, 10, 11, 12, where I'm thinking my career is going to be I'm going to be on the radio. I'm going to be an announcer, and I want to be Dave
You
Miller.
got the face for it. Just kidding. Just kidding.
100%.
I'm kidding.
And I wanted to do now, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to the left-hand side of the pool as you'll see Yaka and Vika go up. And right then they would leap out of the water. It was all choreographed. It was fantastic. And I was just all, this guy up in this booth knows what he's doing. And
Yeah,
how do
yeah,
I get that job when I grow up? So that's funny you remember that.
yeah. You used to do it. And I used to get a kick out of it because I was.
Because you remember it, right? He would.
Yeah.
That I met that guy. My
Oh,
mom actually knew him, as friends of friends through broadcasting when she was involved with doing some broadcasting and worked for a broadcasting media company for a little while and knew this Dave Miller guy. And I'm thinking, looking back on it, I'm like, this guy couldn't have been paying his mortgage by doing this. Pay attention to the left hand side of the
right,
pools, and
right,
Vic could go up and over. There's just no way. What, 4 or 5 times a day? That's it. What's he making, dude? What's he making? 30 grand a
clearing
year?
like 30 grand, maybe.
I
Yeah.
don't know. This is not a sustainable career.
Can you do Ken Korash?
No, I can't do Ken. I
Ladies
can't
and
do Ken
gentlemen,
Korak.
please divert your attention to the center field diamond vision for another edition of Dot Racing. That's the best I can do.
Isn't Ken Korak the one who would also do the lights are on, not taking effect?
I don't
Or was
remember.
that the radio? Nolan will know. He's going to watch this and
Yeah.
he'll be like, "That's not Ken Korak." The A's had some fantastic announcers. You're absolutely
Oh
right.
yeah.
Ken Korak was like the voice of God at the
Yeah,
Coliseum.
that's what.
Like there's 150,000 people can fit in this place, but he's got to fill it up with his voice.
Well, I
Fantastic.
think yeah, Nolan could do him really well. He used to be
Oh,
like,
nice,
and now number 14, Mark Kutze.
nice.
He would
Okay,
always do that.
the
So
Giants
that
had
would
a
be,
good one down at Candlestick, and then when they moved to into San Francisco, right there at Third and King, Rennell became the PA announcer. But the
yeah.
the the guy at Candlestick, I used to be able to do. Don't remember his name, and it would be he would do. You could hear the smile in his voice. He would announce Kevin Mitchell with a smile in his voice, and it would always be now batting the left fielder, number 7, Kevin Mitchell. And you'd be like, this guy loves just announcing Kevin Mitchell. And Will Clark is just kind of and they would, they'd be 3-4 hitters. So that you'd get both of them sometimes in an inning. I'd just be like, oh, it's time, baby. It's time. The Pacific Stock Exchange is coming up to bat. And he had that voice, but you could hear his smile in announcing Kevin
Oh
Mitchell's
yeah.
name. And I
Yeah.
loved that. But Korak, that's a
Yeah.
great one because that's a big building you got to fill up.
Yeah.
It's too much building.
They got the little 60-inch flat screens in the outfield for this, for the I mean, they gotta upgrade those, man, especially with
Yeah.
the amount of space that they have. But do you
Well,
remember Diamond
there's no
Vision?
reason to do that now.
Well, now there isn't, yeah. So, um, yeah. So, all
I
right,
don't know
cool,
what
man.
we're gonna do. There's just monster truck pulls from now to the end of time. What are we gonna do in the Coliseum?
I don't know, man. That's a pity that the A's have to leave, man, or
Can they
whatever. I don't.
do a year-round Shen Yun?
I have no idea.
Okay. Hit me on Twitter if you got that joke. People on there that are watching this.
I didn't.
You know the Shen Yun?
Is that the movie?
No, I don't honestly, it comes around during the holidays.
Oh,
And they do it. Okay, well now you're gonna see it. Now this year you're
okay.
gonna be like, what in the hell? I think the commercials start around December 1st. You can be like, what Shen Yun? I,
Does it go with the Toyota thon?
the Toyota thon, right?
Is it kind of
I
like
mean,
that?
they could make it a Spirit Halloween right now, but it's a big one.
Oh man,
It's
that
so
is
funny.
funny.
The old Kmart here in Petaluma was Spirit Holiday at the end of July this year.
Yeah,
Well, the sign went up, and I'm like, guys, it's July.
yeah. Well, earlier and earlier every year.
Yep.
All right, let's end this podcast and then
Okay.
we can
So to bring
continue
it
to.
back to what's the final thoughts on Fletch?
Fletch.
Are you happy that I picked Fletch this time? Because it's clearly
Yeah.
not your favorite movie of all time. For me,
Well,
this it's up there.
I think
It's
I like yeah, I like any movie. I enjoyed watching it. And again, it's not like I think it's bad, but I just
right.
think um there's just other ones that I feel like I think this is peak Chevy Chase though. I think this
Yeah,
is at
it
his
is
best.
absolutely peak Chevy Chase.
Yeah. And so I mean, I think that's great. I mean,
Okay.
and again, I love if you were to suggest a movie, I would watch anything. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I know you would. Um,
All right.
Under the Rainbow, perhaps. Um, you're all no. We're
Maybe
done
if
doing
we could
Chevy Chase
find it.
movies.
I mean, I've never seen those
I'm
movies
not
like
convinced that that's actually a movie, but I'm gonna have to look
Under
it
the
up when we
Rainbow.
get off the air here. Yeah, I've never heard
Uh,
of this. Under the
yeah,
Rainbow.
it's with Carrie Fisher and
Get out of here.
yeah, and I don't know what you call them, but the short people, I suppose.
Yeah, little
Whoa,
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
little people.
it's starting
So
to freak out because we're at 5102. My final thought is this on Fletch. Well, I ordered some food. You ordered it here. Well, I knew this is where my mouth would be.
my mouth would be.
It's little things like that that are just the confidence in the character
Yeah,
is, he doesn't get a laugh out of anybody. The stuff he's saying is genuinely hilarious, and nobody laughs at his jokes. But also, nobody's just like, "Huh?
yeah. There's no
Like
pushback.
what?"
Yeah,
I mean, all the different characters that he does. He does G. Gordon Liddy. He's Gordon Liddy when he's at the airport. What?
yeah.
That's one of the guys that broke into the. It's one of um, what am I thinking of? We called it Watergate. He was one of the
Yeah.
Watergate burglars.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, these are people that these people should know.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry S. Truman. They were like, oh yeah, oh named after the president. That's the
And
only
what's your
person who goes, okay. Oh, Babar, when he's at the doctor's office, he's all Mr. Babar, and he's all Mr. Barber. He's like, actually, it's Babar. He's like, two things. Um, just one, Babar. That's two. I thought you meant right close together. I thought that's what you. I mean, the whole thing is shtick. It's like a 3-minute scene, and it's all just what. And the doctor's like, and that doctor's been in everything. He's one of
Yeah.
those characters.
Yeah, he's in Blade Runner. That was what's his
Oh, he
name?
was in Blade Runner. He's always yeah.
Yeah.
He was a drunk and was it he was like was it Trading Places that he was one of the might have been Scrooged that he was in where he was I
Oh, he
don't know.
was in Back to School. He was the swim
Oh
coach.
my
Back to
god,
School.
back to that
You know, back in my days, there was a diver that did the triple Lindy. Do you know
that's
who that
right.
was?
That's right.
Yeah, that was me. You're looking at him.
Back to School. That's a good Rodney Dangerfield one. That we could do that one.
Yeah,
Write it down.
I'd be. Yeah, write it down. Write it down. All right. Well,
Cool.
thanks, Toby. I'm going to stop
You're
it, and then
welcome,
we can talk
Steve.
after. All right.
Yep.